Being in a spiritual coma can mean that someone is in a slumber, and this can happen with the problem when the problems of life come along and they mount up, and uh, and so over a period of time we can end up in a spiritual coma, and um, and it's very subtle how it happens. One day, when you first got the Lord, when the Lord first found you, you were on fire, you were elated, you were full of joy, you were bouncing along, you were floating, all that, and I'm sure we can all testify to that, how joyful we felt. But after a certain amount of time, or a period of time, we can slowly fall asleep, just like when you're sitting in the chair in front of the fire. You might be watching the TV and eventually you'll nod off because you're too comfortable. And this is the problem for many of us. We become too comfortable with our faith. We become too comfortable in accepting that which is being revealed to us and shown to us. But I believe the Lord expects us to keep on digging and to find the deeper meanings and understandings of Him. And it's never ending. It's a lifetime process that we must go through. And this keeps us on fire. This keeps the fire stoked up. We keep putting coals and logs on the fire to keep it burning. And the Lord wants this for us, and because it's good for our faith. It's good for us as fleshly humans. It's good for us in our walk of life. It's good for us and brings us contentment and joy and fulfillment when we keep on digging, knocking and asking for things to be shown, revealed and understood. And surely we must not settle for less, or we will end up in a spiritual coma. It's very easy to do, brothers and sisters. So we need to ask ourselves, are we in a spiritual coma, or are we Christ conscious? We should be conscious of the Lord Jesus Christ in our mind and heart 24/7, every minute of the day, in everything we do, everything we think. The Lord Jesus Christ should come to the front of your mind. And this acts as a protection. And obviously there are moments when the Lord isn't at the front of our mind and we'll chip over. But on the whole, the Lord we should be Christ conscious at all times, so we don't become in a coma status state. I can never say that word. So we don't end up in a spiritual coma. And so too, this helps us defeat the works of the flesh from within us. It helps the spirit man to grow stronger, to become more powerful and become more prevalent in your life. And so too, that waging war that goes on in your mind between the works of darkness and light that take place within us goes on. But being Christ conscious is you winning the victory. It means you're winning the victory of a Christ conscious. But if you find yourself in a coma, a spiritual coma, you need your spirit man. The spirit will keep prodding you, keep leading you, keep pleading with you to wake up, keep nudging you to wake up. And sometimes we do need that in our lives, because we can get complacent. We can get, through the drudgery of the repetition of the fleshly life. And it is very repetitious, and that's just the way it is. But if we're not content with the things that we have, and we want to keep on seeking the Lord more fully, more wholly, and keep on digging, knocking and asking, no, He will reveal Himself more and more to us. We will fully understand more of His love, the depth of His height and His wisdom, and His glory, all of those things. So it's very important that we ask ourselves every so often, are we in a spiritual coma, or are we Christ conscious? Are we awake yet? And yes, brothers and sisters, we have to keep prodding each other as well along the way, taking each other's hand and dragging each other along sometimes along the path. It's very important that we uplift each other in this way. And I would urge you to ask yourself that question, are we in a spiritual coma or Christ conscious?